HTML was originally designed to facilitate the sharing of scientific documents between researchers, but now it's widely used to format web pages with various tags available in the language. And since then, HTML has evolved quite a bit. So, to understand the advancement of HTML, we need to look at the brief history of HTML. In 1989, when a British inventor and computer scientist, Sir Tim Berners-Lee, proposed an information management system that outlined something he called World Wide Web, and he also created a language that those documents were written in was called Hypertext Markup Language, which is HTML. It was based on Standard Generalized Markup Language, in short, SGML. That was the bare-bones version of HTML that we use today. Then, 2 years later, in 1991, CERN, European Organization for Nuclear Research, published the first public edition of HTML. The language was very limited. There wasn't much we could do with it other than getting some simple text onto the web. Then, after a few years, in 1995, HTML 2.0 was released by IETF, which stands for Internet Engineering Task Force. HTML 2.0 included everything from the previous version of HTML and added few new extra features such as from-based file upload from elements like text box and options button. Then in 1997, HTML 3.2 was published by World Wide Web Consortium, also known as W3C. This version of HTML could create tables and also could provide support for extra options for from elements, and it could also support a web page with complex mathematical equations. And after that, HTML 4.1 was released in December 1999, and it was a very stable HTML version for a long time. HTML 4.1 added support for style sheet like CSS, and it's also added scripting ability for various multimedia elements. Then in 2000, W3C tried to move from HTML and created XHTML. The goal was to make HTML follow the strict rules of XML. XHTML was created by reformulating HTML 4.1 and XML, and overall it was a safer language. Then next year, they published XHTML 1.1, but it was never really taken on by web developer community. And at that time, the most prominent web browser, Internet Explorer, could barely understand XHTML. That's when most of the people on the web couldn't even properly see the web page written with XHTML. Then in 2004, development of HTML was closed by W3C when they decided to instead focus on XHTML. At that time, representatives from the major browser company created a group called the Web Hypertext Application Technology Working Group, in short, WHATUG, and their goal was to develop HTML further to reflect the modern dynamic web while keeping the backward compatibility with existing HTML code. They mainly focused on two things: a pragmatic evolution of what browser already supported and what developer wanted to achieve. At the same time, W3C continued their development of XHTML 2.0, and the plan for XHTML 2.0 was to completely drop any relationship and compatibility with existing HTML code. Then, in 2008, Watuk released their first public draft of HTML5, and after some time, W3C realized that their effort to move the web from HTML to XML was not working. So in 2009, they finally dropped the development of XHTML and they joined Watuk on the development of HTML5 as a senior advisor. But in 2012, they had some disagreement, and because of that, they split up the development of HTML5. And 2 years later, in 2014, W3C released their official HTML5 recommendation. However, in 2019, they both agreed to work together to advance the open web platform, and since then, they are working together on a single version of HTML and DOM specification. And that's pretty much wrap up. the brief history of HTML.